It's fine.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our meeting. Glad to see you all out there. And first of all, if you'd please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now we have a portion for public comment. I see nobody has signed up to speak tonight, but if anybody would like to make any public comment at this time, they're certainly welcome to do so. Okay. In that case, we'll wait for our last member to join us here.
Hello, Trustee Williams.
Carrie? Chair Kelly, you have the approval of the agenda.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, next we'd like to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
We moved to second that we approve the agenda as it was published. Any comment? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion is adopted. Now we're down to the information portion of the meeting, and we're very privileged to have Lake Ponderay High School principal here and students that we can recognize. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Jeff.
Thank you, trustees. It is an honor to come here and represent Lake Ponderay High School, a fantastic little school here in our great district. We do things a little differently, like all things at Lake Ponderay High School, so the majority of our presentation is going to be led by students who have prepared some short speeches to give you. Each one of them have been asked to speak about their personal experience at Lake Ponderay High School through a particular lens, programs, the atmosphere, things like that. But before we get to that, I would like to just share with you that Lake Ponderay is on a period of just amazing growth and success over the last few years. And there's a lot of data to support that. Our MAP scores, our grades, our attendance, a lot of things are really going very well. But I really want to focus on one, which is kind of our bread and butter and the reason we exist, and that's graduation. As a school, we put a high premium on getting kids across that finish line. I mean, that's why we're there. That's the purpose of it. So we really look at that number closely. And I wanted to share with you that our school's success in the recent past is really worthy of recognition, and the staff that has worked so hard on this particular number over the years really deserves some kudos, and the students also for sticking to it. So just to give you some context, the graduation rate for alternative high schools in Idaho, the average is 38.33% on average. 35 of the 44 alternative high schools in Idaho are below 50% graduation. Let that sink in for just a second. This is the top 10 in the state for the 17-18 cohort. That's us, second from the top, at 68.63%. There's only one alternative school in the state that had a higher graduation than your alternative school here in Lake Ponderay School District. This year, I just became official. We will have, for last year's cohort, we will have a 73.8% graduation rate, and I'm sure Bennett Mountain will drop, so we might be first. You never know. But we're very, very proud of this number because it bucks the trend for alternative schools in the state, and it's a tribute to the way we set up our program. Being a school of choice, working hard for kids individually, looking at trauma-informed teaching and learning every day, walking that walk even on full moon days like today was. More importantly for us, the number we care about almost more than that is for this same cohort, for the 17-18, so this same cohort that we were number 2, the actual graduation we care about, the rate is, was 84.6% because the state has started tracking the 5-year cohorts. So kids up until now, students who graduated in 4 years and 1 day were considered dropouts. Now the state, we don't get a lot of credit for it, but at least they're tracking the number. So to put that in perspective, our district was at 89.3. So if we had graduated 1.5 more students, we would have been on district average as an alternative school with 100% at-risk kids. So I mean, it's a tribute to this amazing staff that overcoming the many things that our students walk in the door with is paying off. So what we're doing seems to be working in a lot of different metrics, but also the main metric, which is getting kids across the finish line. And so that results in 4 years of increasing graduation rate, each a record for our school. So for 4 consecutive years, we've had a higher graduation rate, each one a record, while steadily and mercilessly increasing rigor across the board. So I just want to stand up in front of you folks and recognize that we have the greatest staff in the entire district at Lake Pond High School. They work their butts off every day, and we have an amazing group of students who are coming to us by choice and saying, I want something different, and then activating. So I'd like to waste no more time and get to those kids. We have 6 students who are going to talk to you today, and they're all super excited about doing it. We're going to lead off. Please recognize Leilani Henry.
Hello, my name is Leilani Henry, and I am a senior at Lake Pond Alternative High School. LPO has been such an amazing blessing in my life, and one of the things that makes it great is their grading system. At LPO, we grade toward elite, which means at the end of each quarter, we get new schedules and start the quarter off with all new grades. We don't switch schedules that semester like other schools, which is a big relief because it takes a lot of stress off our shoulders, so we don't have to worry about missing a huge amount of assignments and having no time to catch up. We also cover a semester's worth of work in a quarter, so that is why we set up our classes the way we do. At LPO, we don't have 8 classes in total, we have 4. Only having 4 classes has made everything so much easier to manage and understand. The teachers at LPO give us chances to make up our assignments at any time, so we have the opportunity to correct ourselves and show our best potential. This includes retaking tests. We also do not time our tests, so we can focus on completing the assignment rather than amount of time we need to get it done in. Another great attribute about LPO is they offer a class called 5th period. 5th period is a 5th class that we get assigned to if we are at a 75 or below in any certain class. This gives us a chance to catch up so we don't fail. The teachers also focus more on summative grades rather than formative. Our summatives often consist of tests, assessments, or essays. Summative grades are worth a lot more than formative. Lastly, one of the things that stands out the most to me is that some teachers offer Saturday school like bread. This gives us opportunities to catch up at the last minute so we don't fail. Overall, LPO has been an amazing school, and I am blessed to be here and have the staff in my life. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leilani. Yeah, I think Lake Pond has become, you're all welcome to come anytime. I'd like to explain our grading practices to you there. I think we're pretty progressive and it works very well for our students. Thank you, Leilani. Next up, we have Daryl Dunaway. Give a big hand to Daryl.
The class schedule has both helped me personally and academically. The time between classes is perfect even for walking all the way across campus for the next class. The period lengths are good for the curriculum, and how the teachers set up their class to work with the length of the class seems to work better than I thought when I came to this school. They are able to balance time and information to fully teach each topic in a few days. The transition between classes is smooth, so there's no excuse for being late. Before I was enrolled in LPO, every single year since 5th grade, I have had a report card with grades averaging above an 80%. But now I'm getting A's and B's across the board. 5th period Wednesdays really help by keeping grades up above C. If you use your time wisely, you can excel really easily in this school, and the class schedule helps with achieving those goals. Having the same periods every day helps more, in my opinion, than having a class every other day. If you can balance your time and information like how LPO does, it can really skyrocket your learning process and can open up a lot more opportunities to help each individual achieve their academic goal. Throughout the years, I've had schools change the way they time the classes and the transitions between classes. They never seem to get it just right, so that every kid has enough time to get to each class and be able to keep up with the information that's being taught. Thankfully, LPO does.
Thank you, Daryl. Next up, Yana Stoop.
Hello, my name is Cameron Steele. I've been attending LPO since the beginning of the semester. At first, I was very nervous, but thanks to the amazing staff and my peers, it has been a true blessing to attend such an amazing school. Since attending the school, I've been passing passing classes, and my attendance has improved a lot. I wake up motivated to be a better person inside and outside of school. At my previous school, students would get away with skipping classes, cursing, and bullying. We didn't do much about it, but at LPO, where the population is smaller, they are able to make sure we feel safe, comfortable, loved, and heard. The staff here are very fun, and they know what they're teaching us as students. They truly care about each and every student. I wake up at 4:30 every morning and ride a bus for 1.5 to 2 hours to and from school, which is quite frustrating as a team. The staff tries their hardest when it comes to us students, like me, whether you need help with school or stuff at home. At LPO, we are very close. We are like a family. I can't truly believe how much I have changed along with the other students.
Thank you, Jenna. Next up. Come on, Hannah. Hannah down, everybody.
Good afternoon. My name is Hannah Dowd, and I'm a senior at Lake Pondere High School. I've been going here for about 2 years, and I'm Brenda Woodward's advisory, who is the science teacher at our school. During advisory, especially on Wednesdays while we have more time, we get together and plan positive activities. Adding positive, motivating, and uplifting activities to our everyday school life is a huge part of our school. It not only makes going to school every day more fun for the students and teachers, but also encourages a good, positive, and family-like energy throughout. We do many all-school activities. For example, during November, we spread turkey grams to the whole school. You can write a positive message about why you're grateful for someone and put it in their turkey gram bag. We also have things that the staff provides to motivate the students to get to school and improve their academic state every day. Students with 90% attendance or better get donuts and coffee every Friday. And we also have a secret Santa exchange between the students and teachers during Christmas season, as well as an all-school Christmas party. Countless fun activities are being done around the school all the time to make going to LPO a more fun and personal experience. We also have what we call family meetings, which is an assembly just with LPO, which makes it a lot more fun, especially with how little the school is. It makes us all closer, which is why they're called family meetings. During these family meetings, we have different activities as well as student-teacher nominations. Student nominations and teacher nominations are acknowledgments for one individual student from each teacher or a student who has noticed them doing an exceptional job in school in some sort of way that they have recognized and appreciated. This and countless other things are done throughout the school year just to put in that little bit of extra effort to make LPO what it is, an incredible school that puts its full heart into every student who is part of it. Not only do we make sure every student has what they need for school, but also what they need to feel like a part of the family. The personal relationships between the students and teachers at our school has made it better and more heartfelt for me personally. I've never been to a school like LPO where the teachers and staff's top priority is you, whether it has to do with school or not. Becoming a student leader at LPO is something that I never knew I was capable of. The amazing energy at the school has helped me realize my potential and motivated me more than ever, and I couldn't be more grateful for that.
Thank you, Hannah. One of the things that we're really proud of at our school, and is really an outlier in terms of alternative schools in the state, is we have 2 fully articulated CTE strands at our school, which is just, I don't know a single other alternative school. Most of them only have 1. We have 2. We're very, very proud of that. Here to talk a little bit about those 2 and some other special programs, please give a big hand to Madison McNall.
Hello, my name is Madison McNall, and I am currently a senior at Lake Pondere High School. I've been attending LPOHS for about 2.5 years, and I've been fortunate enough to experience many of the incredible opportunities our school has to offer. In addition to standard academic classes, they offer a number of CTE programs. CTE, for those of you who don't know, stands for Career and Technical Education. The CTE classes at LPO include Adobe Photoshop, InDesign, and previously offered Illustrator, as well as our culinary classes. Brandy, our first CTE graphic communications, part of a program called Create Idaho, which provides complimentary access to all Adobe products for staff and students alike. At the end of each software class, such as InDesign, Photoshop, and Illustrator, there is an Adobe certification test. If the student passes the test, it is worth 3 credits at Lewis and Clark State College. I have passed both Photoshop and InDesign, achieving 6 credits in total. I am also considering attending LCSC for web design. Brand, our other CTE teacher, teaches culinary arts. Within the class, each student gets the opportunity to acquire their food handler's licenses, meaning we are certified in the safety and knowledge of being in the kitchen, which opens many different job opportunities. Brenda teaches water chemistry and forestry. In water chemistry, we learn about different issues and terminology within the field itself. We then identify an issue in our community that we aim to find a solution to. My project was finding a way to reuse stormwater. I also presented my project at the NIC building and placed 3rd overall for our school. As well as in forestry, we identify trees in their scientific names, the different climates, etc., which both classes you get the opportunity to present at different summits, though I sadly have not been able to take the forestry class. In conclusion, we are also fortunate to be able to experience these opportunities. I personally never imagined myself completing any CTE programs, creating a solution to a water chemistry issue, and earning my food safety license. I would have never been able to do this without the help of the amazing staff at Lake Pend Oreille High School.
Jensen, and last but certainly not least, Taiwan.
Hello, my name is Tyler Warner, and I've been attending the LPO Alternative High School for my 3-year high school career. The thing I love most about the LPO is the fact that we are a family and that we support each other. The teachers, staff, and principal all support you with everything that you do and want with your life, obviously within reason. When I first got to the LPO, I was fresh out of an 8th grade that was more like therapy than actual school. I was in the mindset that the teachers worked for me, and I was disrespectful to all the teachers and students alike. My first year, I got sent to the student support room, or SSR, 13 times and was suspended 5 times. This year, or well, as of when I wrote this speech, I only have 1 SSR.
That was a full one.
Yeah, it was a full mission. The student support room is a safe space where you can go when the teacher asks you to, so you can cool off and they can kind of find out what's going on with you. This school helped me personally grow because the staff actually cares, and this is one of the few schools that I've seen where that happens. Another thing that helped me flourish into the person that I am today is that the school is small enough that I could almost list off every person that goes to the school, just top of my head, but I'm not going to save time. And it helps with the stress of moving between classes and getting work done, because the teachers can actually have one-on-one time with every student. There's no real issues with that I've seen personally. These are just a few of the reasons why the LPO is one of the best schools I've ever seen. It's different from all the rest, and that's because we're a family, for sure. Thank you.
Yes, we're very proud of these students. Thank you all for taking your time and speaking so eloquently about our school. We would like to end by just inviting all of you to please come visit us at any time. There's so many amazing things happening there. You heard we operate on a 4x4 schedule, which is very different. I mean, and we think it really works for our students. We have these amazing CTE courses. We have a student support room, which is not really heard of at a high school, but it's really integral to what we do. So we hope we've teased you a little bit in saying, well, what are those things? And maybe we invite all of you collectively or just individually to come see this amazing staff in action. And I would just say also that you would not be the first visitors. We are going to have an entire high school from staff from Lewiston visit us at the end of next month, just
Oh, wow.
to come up and see what we're doing here, because this staff has a reputation throughout the state for excellence, especially in the alternative world. So I would prefer to think, and I do think, that it's really, they're just great teachers, alternative or not. So thanks to all of them. Thank you to you. Any questions?
So what's your enrollment this year, Jeff?
Where are we at right now? We did a little 94. 94. We already have. We get probably the dust. We get a big hit at semester, so probably we'll be over 100 at semester.
And last year you had a huge graduating class.
Largest graduating class, second largest graduating class ever. Yeah. So we opened the doors at 104 last year because we had that huge bubble, and then we graduated 43. 43. The largest ever was 45. So it was a big graduation. So, cool. This year we had how many? I just had to ask the principal.
Well, thank you very much. It
Yeah,
was very nice.
outstanding.
We would like to recognize the students if they could come forward. We have a certificate for them, and we'd like to do a picture.
Leilani,
It's in order.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Daryl,
Yeah, that was great.
congratulations. Great job.
Good job.
Kiona,
Very nice, I like it.
congratulations. Emma,
Thank you.
nice job.
Thank you.
Madison, great job, Madison. Great job. And Silas, great job.
Good job.
Good job, very funny, and I like it.
Get the staff up there.
Okay, what are we doing? Are we
I know it's a super pain, but can we turn the thing on? I was just looking at that. I'm like, that way I can get, because everybody's tall in this one.
Yeah, I know. He's not, yeah, he's socializing.
Making friends. Good to see you, friend.
Okay, guys.
Board members. I want to stop it.
All right.
Oh, cool.
Okay. I think, except for Randy's. Yeah, but I can see you if you stand up. Yeah, you're good. All right. All right. That's right. Okay.
I was.
Oh, we're going to take a short break here, so those
I can
of
see
you
the
that,
camera.
do not
You may
want to
not
stay
see.
for the whole meeting,
You can see the camera.
Sorry.
And I'm gonna email you and say I wanna come visit. Maybe I'll just walk through one time when Tom's already can do it. So it's not a
We'll
separate.
coordinate.
Yeah.
Anytime. It's good. Yeah, I mean,
What are the dates that Lewiston School's coming? End of January?
end of January, I think. Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah.
I always come for your senior presentation day, but I never like wander around the classrooms when I'm doing that. I know, I'm just out there. So I like to come when there's actual classroom.
But this, you know, I presented to the superintendent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I've had a couple of students call and say, we looked at your data, can we just bring our whole staff up to speed? I mean,
I think it's
and
great.
I always tell them, I was like, it's going to look just like a school. That's what we are. You know, there's
That's great. Yeah.
visitation though. Stuff.
Yeah, really good.
Nice, great, it's great.
I think I saw you at Longshot last night.
Did you?
You were walking out.
Oh. Yeah, that's my first time there.
Yeah, it's kind of nice, yeah.
It's like Evan's brother, but with wine.
Uh-huh. Yep. Okay, we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Okay, Matt, I can't believe they left right before math hour.
Well, I was going to pull out a math class. And
Yeah.
They caught me with it and they were. But math was one of my seventh graders.
What's that? No, different. Different Maddie. I have a Maddie that's my niece. She's, I am, well, no,
It's all
through marriage, through my side.
A tangled web.
If it's north of the Long Bridge, probably.
Okay, the next thing on our agenda we're going to have an update on mathematics, and we're very pleased to have two such people here, Andrea and also Kathy, so we'll turn it over to you.
Okay. So thanks for having us back. A few meetings ago, you heard just a briefing about standard-based grading at the elementary level. Got to look a bit at the assessments. We're working hard to create teacher teams, those cover sheets, so that we're communicating with families the various assessments, the various standards on those assessments. And so it's a perfect time to invite our district math instructional coach, Kathy Farmer, here to highlight a bit of her incredible work. And I would just say that she's been working extremely hard this fall to really wear two hats, or more than two at all times. But our work has focused around supporting of teachers in the classroom and working with students on a day-to-day basis as instructional coaches do, but also more of that systems level work to get our assessments aligned with standards-based grading, provide professional development with entire grade levels at once, and work on those cover sheets that you saw last meeting. So I'm just here to say thank you, and we will provide a brief overview of what coaching looks like in LPOSD.
All right, thank you. So in the next, 10 minutes, recent history of LPOSD math, Geraldine's worried. Current focus for this school year, and then also just a few highlights on student and teacher impact of our work. So many of you remember that there was a National Science Foundation grant that 5 of us were involved in, 5 teachers in LPOSD. And that started in 2011 and continued actually through a couple years ago in the first few years of my coaching. In the summer of 2013, well, for 3 years we went down to Pullman or Moscow, and we had training at University of Idaho and Washington State University. And in the summer of 2013, Tom was our administrator who came to spend time with the team down there. And we came back from that summer sort of fortified. We were being built as math leaders, math teachers. And with the assistance of Tom, we got together with Sean and Kathy Burgett, who at the time was our curriculum director. And we created, kind of formed this math leadership team. So for 2 years, Kathy and I co-facilitated that team. And we were trying to make this transition into our new standards. There was a significant shift in the way we had done instruction. We didn't have materials yet, and so we did professional development with those teachers. We made some instructional decisions on materials and things like that. Then in 15-16, Becky and I co-facilitated our curriculum pilot. We had 50 plus teachers involved in that.
That's great.
Some of you were part of that adoption process with us. We provided professional development, got together with grade levels of teachers, teams of teachers, and then made recommendations to the board, and you approved our curriculum programs. For the following 2 years, that National Science Foundation grant funded me to do very close work, focused work with teachers around math instruction. And so the first year I worked with 13 teachers and students rotating through their classrooms, pre-conferencing, teaching, and post-conferencing with them. The following year, we increased that to 25 and also branched out to middle school. We did research. We just worked to improve our instruction, and we were really building teachers as teacher leaders in math. So that work continued for 2 years, and then last year, PAFE and LPOSD paid for this position again, and this year it's part of the levy. So last year I branched out to the 90-some teachers, K-8, and then also worked at Clark Fork High School for the math teacher there. This is just a picture of one of our leadership teams. A lot of the heavy lifting came through many of these people. Some of them have retired and moved on, but we're fortunate to have a large portion of that group still working within the district as math leaders. So let's talk about our current focus now. What are we doing this year? You have, I think, did we pass out? Yeah, we passed out the progression to algebra. So always before us is this document. where in the arrow, these are the most important things at each grade level. So each piece builds on the next. And so we're really working to fill in gaps, close that achievement gap we have, make sure we're not creating gaps. We're working on fluency, just really providing the foundation and clear focus so that when students finish 8th grade, they're really prepared for high school algebra. So we're in all of our instruction, our professional development with teachers, we're very focused on the materials we give them. We're very focused on those things that the 2nd grade teacher knows. Their job is addition, subtraction, place value, deeply building that, the relationship between those operations, and it progresses all the way through. In addition to content, we're also continuing to support the teachers in the standards-based grading. We're really digging deep into the standards and helping them to understand the standards of their own grade level. We're rewriting our chapter assessments, getting together at the district office, having fairly intense conversations about this standard means this, no it doesn't, it means that. And the work of the teachers this past fall has been, since starting this process in 2013, bringing on standards-based grading has really given them this need to know that they didn't have before, and so it's been really exciting to hear those conversations between them. We're also just increasing their math content. The majority of elementary teachers don't become elementary teachers because they're content heavy in mathematics. They're generalists, and so all of the professional development, the work that we're doing with them is really building them as math teachers, which is a really exciting part of our job. We're supporting the interim assessments, and these are kind of practice opportunities with the ISAT, working in the classrooms with the teachers to implement those assessments on the computer, and then addressing the needs that the assessments expose. This year, I'm working more closely with a few of the principals. They are instructional leaders in their buildings, but I get this opportunity as the math person to help build them as a math instructional leader specifically, and I have a few buildings that are really working closely with me on that. I'm prioritizing my visits because 90 teachers plus is kind of a hard thing to do well. So I'm trying to prioritize with those newer teachers to the profession and newer to LPOSD. And we're just continuing to work on our curriculum maps, giving rich resources to the teachers and working on collaboration. So, because the first 2 years of my math coaching position were funded by the National Science Foundation, I collected a lot of research, and I spent a lot of my time looking at how kids were responding and teachers were responding to the work that we were doing. So I've got a little bit of data here. The teachers reported we saw a growth in their content and their pedagogy, and pedagogy just means their implementation of the math curriculum. Their confidence increased, their enjoyment of not only teaching math but learning math increased, which was a really fun thing to observe. There was a positive change in the classroom culture, and by that we mean historically math has kind of gotten a bad rap. Many of you in this building are math people, but you know that others sat around and went, oh, do we have to do math? That is changing. Kids are more interested and excited about math. Teachers are excited to teach math in ways that they had not been before. Another thing that we've noticed happening is that kids have this tendency to kind of wait you out so that you can spoon feed them a thing, and teachers are learning how to keep those expectations high, wait, and the kids attain to those expectations. So that has been interesting for us. Kids struggle in math, but teachers are learning how to make that struggle for them. Students reported, they themselves, this word perseverance, they're using it from kindergarten on. They report that they're more perseverant, they're more interested in math. It's harder now, but they like it more. They love the problem solving that we do now with our new standards, and they love the partner work, and they can identify that they're more confident now. So I have a couple quotes from kids. This is always very fun for me. This is an 8th grader. These are quotes. I think that math is complex, and it also is challenging, which I enjoy very much. Working hard to get to a solution is a natural high. That's pretty good. From another 8th grader. I'm good at thinking critically and solving my own math problems using my own way and not using anybody else's because I am my own person in life and math and no one can tell me how to do my math. And any of us who have worked with 8th graders know that this is fairly indicative of 8th grade thinking. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, those are 8th graders, they're very sophisticated, they're almost high schoolers, they're very verbal. The next quote is from a 4th grader. And this particular 4th grader was in an extended day resource room, which means special ed classes for the majority of the day. And when asked, do you like math, this student said, I love math because I like explaining new things. It's just that all the hardness goes into my brain and it feels good. So that's been some of the highlight of us and what we're doing. So teacher collaboration, these are 2 groups of teachers that were part of the collaboration we had this past fall and digging into the standards, writing those cover sheets, rewriting our assessments. And what we know, Andrea came on in 2016, in the summer of 2016, and from the moment that she got here, our focus has been teacher collaboration because we know that it is so powerful in the growth of teachers and the growth of kids. On the left, you see Peggy Gaudette, who is 3rd grade PB, and Becky Charbot, who is on the right, 3rd grade Furman Stidwell. They are actually facilitating a math task with their 3rd grade team and teaching them math content. That was part of the professional development we had this past fall. So, in conclusion, I'd like to leave us with this final quote. These are from 2 math leaders, both past presidents of National Council of Teachers in Mathematics. One of the primary characteristics of high-performing and high-impact schools that are successfully closing the mathematics achievement gap, is their laser-like focus on teacher collaboration as a key to improving instruction and reaching all students. And if there's one thing that I could say we're doing, it's teacher collaboration. So, any questions for us about what's happening? Like Jeff, I would love to invite you. Some of you have been. I think, Geraldine, were you there with Kate when we had our 12 teachers watching each time? Kids, we have more teachers actually than kids in the room at the time. But we'd love to have you come watch any of our work. If you're ever interested, you can email us.
Yeah.
I would just like to add in there, I think one of the big benefits is the consistent instruction that students are getting across the district. It's not pockets of teachers that like math or had a high aptitude. So one of the biggest focus is shifting into that where there's consistent instruction, and that is invaluable for all students. Regardless of the school you go to, the grade level you're at, this work is incredible.
It's invaluable for the teachers too.
Yes.
That one.
Well, and the resources that this team here provides the teachers, they share it with me. And so, you know, an elementary teacher is wearing many hats, and to have the templates and the lessons and things just laid out for them and then giving them the support and how to teach it, I mean, it's there. And so it's great work. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For the opportunity and the support.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get you to come to
I
know.
know.
So we'll talk about that another time.
Okay.
But my question is, you know, can you or Andrea, you know, talk a little bit about our new grading system and specifically how it functions in the math curriculum?
Sure. So as you saw last presentation, in general, attainment of the standards at the grade level as written would be considered a 3 or proficient in our new grading scale. Working to a 4, we'd be going above and beyond. We're working hard with our staff this year. It's been a theme of all of our professional development. Elementary grade level teams will work on it again tomorrow in our early release. But there's really 2 avenues to get there. One would be thinking more about the depth of knowledge. So taking some of these concepts that are in your standards, but applying them, synthesizing, putting them into a real world application, taking your division knowledge, creating a word problem. So there's a lot of justifying, extending, critical thinking. But then we say there are a few instances where you might be a 5th grade teacher and you've taught all of the division standards. If you've already extended and applied and students are very proficient doing those things, then you might start to look at the 6th grade math standards. But we want to make sure our students go deeper before we just accelerate into the content ahead. So Kathy's worked very hard and will continue all year long to communicate that to our families, work hard in our professional development, share resources as a staff. What are you using for those kids who need to go deeper or who finish quickly? That'll be a theme tomorrow in our early release.
Kathy, what is your background in mathematics?
Well, I'm an elementary certified teacher, and in 2010, I took the math thinking for instruction class from the State Department, and it was a high school class, and it was the first day of the rest of my career, because all of a sudden I realized, even though I had been a math anxious person throughout most of my life, my mind was open to being able to understand things in a way that I hadn't before. And so from that point on, I wanted to do nothing but teach math for the rest of my career. So I get to do that now.
Well, it's a great fit. It's a wonderful program.
Just commenting,
Yeah.
Kathy's an all-star teacher.
Yeah.
I've known her, as a
Yeah.
parent for
Yeah.
many years, and long before she was a math coach, she was an all-star elementary teacher.
I would second that, having
Thank you.
taught
I'll
with
third
her.
that.
Yes, I have history with most of you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
thank
Do
you.
you have kids yet? Oh, darn it. I hope I get some before I retire.
Well, thank you so much for what
Thank
you
you,
do.
both of you.
Opportunity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you for believing in us and the power of curriculum and also the power of professional development to support that curriculum and to just publicly acknowledge you and your incredible hard work. So
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
For supporting me.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, next we have down to action items, and the first one we have is the consent agenda.
I can make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. Any discussion at all? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion is adopted. Next, we have alternate authorization, teacher to a new certification of Melanie Kerr, Sandpoint Middle School.
Yeah, I think Casey's going to speak on that.
I made
Great.
it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Melanie Kerr, she was hired this year, a fairly recent graduate from the University of Nebraska. She had been student teaching over in Whitefish, Montana last year. She is actually teaching, she was hired to teach both science and math this year at our school. She has a master's in education. She's taken a whole lot of math already, being that she is a science certified teacher, and she just needs to complete that endorsement, which she's working through the University of Idaho currently and has a plan set out to do that. So she's well on her way. She's just working through those last bits to finish her math year. So she is currently teaching one 8th grade math class, and the rest of her classes are actually science. So,
Thank you. Any questions by the board?
What's the estimate of completion for this endorsement?
so they have 3 years to do it, to complete it.
Right.
I would, given the state's coming back and letting her know exactly, so she's starting on some courses now that she knows she has to take, but then the last that we had talked, which was just last week, they were still getting back to her, considering some of the other courses from Nebraska and looking at them and saying,
So
okay, are these
Yeah.
going to fit for that course? So it depends. It could be anywhere from 1 to 3 years.
Okay.
Depending on how much she actually has to take.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve this request.
We'll make a motion to approve the alternate authorization request for Melanie Kerr.
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this authorization as stated. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion is adopted. Thank you. Next, we have request permission to surplus pitching machine and designated automatic feeder. Now.
Yeah,
It'd be cool
so
to have, wouldn't it?
David Miles is not here. Just a little, this is a note from Chase Tigert, the head baseball coach at Sandpoint High School. And he has gone through the high school administration for approval. And basically we're just, they're updating their equipment. to a new pitching machine and the feeder that will put the ball into the pitching machine, and they would like to surplus this. The estimated value is $2,750, so therefore it requires school board approval before we can put that on our surplus auction. So.
All right, thank you. Any questions at all? In that case, we'll entertain a motion to approve this request.
Make,
I make motion that we approve this request to sell the pitching machine.
a second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the request as stated. Any further discussion? All those,
Yeah, one further question. Tom, do you know if they ever just sell it for less if they don't get this offer of this $2,750? They're open to.
Sorry. Chris Knowles has said that there will be a reserve on the auction site.
We don't know what the reserve price is, so we'll set a minimum bid.
I
So we
gotcha.
use an online
So they do have
bid
a
system
control
that
of the
Matt
minimum.
Deal runs for any surplus equipment for the school district, and you can set the minimum bid price, and they don't know what that is.
I was just curious.
any further questions?
Well, and the reserve price too. The reserve price and the minimum bid price is different. Reserve price, the bids have to get at least to that.
To that
before it
point.
sells.
Yeah.
Okay, curious.
Okay, any further- all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion is adopted. Thank you. Well, we're down to announcements, and there must be announcements from our
Yeah, just a few here. I just wanted to, in the month of November, we had 3 full consistent weeks of instruction. And I got really good feedback from teaching staff on that and the productivity of those having consistent weeks of instruction rather than breaking it up as we had before. So it was the first year of that schedule, and I just wanted to share with you we have positive feedback. And then coming back, we have 3 full weeks of consistent instruction in December also before winter break. So again, when you can put that time together and not break it up, we get good feedback. Also, winter sports are underway at both Sandpoint High School, Sandpoint Middle School, and Clarkport. You're reading that in the paper. And then through donations from the Hope Walk, which is Jennifer Wyman, which is a suicide prevention awareness walk that happens on Labor Day. Art Jackson was brought into the school district and was at Sandpoint High School, Sandpoint Middle School today, and will be at Alternative High School and Clarkport tomorrow, just giving a message of hope to all students there. So just want to say partnering with the Hope Walk and Jennifer to bring Art in, and he was in 2 or 3 years ago, I think. So.
He was in the current 7th graders or sophomores now.
Okay,
The
so
sophomores
he made a good impact the first time, so he was invited back. So every year in around December before winter break, we do bring in some speaker through the Hope Walk just to work on working with students. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you. Casey, do you have any announcements?
Hey, you know, we, speaking of, and I've gotten to work with Kathy myself too, and both my daughter had her, and I got to be her supervisor one year, and I can speak as well to the fact that she does an amazing job. But in that kind of a vein, we have really come a long way with our ELCs, and tomorrow in our school we are working on collaborative, we just talked about it there, to do what we call a fishbowl. And what that is we have one of our teams, one of our PLC teacher teams, is going to be taking the data that they've gathered from an assessment, and then everybody kind of surrounds them and watches what they do and how they actually talk about the data that they've received, whether it be math or English or whatever it might be for that group, and they discuss where their struggles might be in their own classroom, and then they get feedback from another teacher. So it creates kind of this vulnerability, but it creates an amazing amount of feedback for teachers about students and what they're doing within their classrooms. And so what we're doing tomorrow is having all the teaching staff basically surround the one group that's going to be demonstrating how they do it. They're going to demonstrate, take their data and talk about that, and talk about certain struggles, and then they're going to come up with some strategies that they're going to utilize to increase basically increase their effectiveness and utilize everyone within that group to do so. And so what's amazing, what's come out of this is, for example, our math instruction, our team is actually taking other people within the school that are not teaching math. For example, Pat Lynch, who's been a math teacher for a long time, as well as Courtney Watson, and they're going to jump on board and help with the strategy piece of that to take students who have struggled and then reteach some key materials. So it's really a fun time to see that and to see that accomplish. So,
Good, thank you. Lisa, do you have anything for us today? Andrew, anything else? Board members, any announcements?
No.
In that case, we will go into, entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Okay. So I move that we go into executive session as provided for in Idaho Code Title 74, Section 206, subsection 1B. To consider the evaluation, dismissal, or disciplining of, or to hear complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent, or public school student. And F, to communicate with legal counsel for the public agency to discuss the legal ramifications of and legal options for pending litigation or controversies not yet being litigated but imminently likely to be litigated. The mere presence of legal counsel at an executive session does not satisfy this requirement.
I'll second that.
Thank you. It's moved and second that we approve. This motion is stated. So, do you have a roll call vote,
Roll
please?
call, Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Trustee Superger.
Aye.
Trustee Decker.
Aye.
Trustee Lewis.
Aye.
Trustee Kelly.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for doing the heavy lifting on that.